anybody out there? Is anybody out there? Hey, hello there. Welcome back to the art room. I'm really glad you could make it today. I kind of got stuck down there. Oh well, today's episode is all about optical illusions. We'll take a look at some familiar ones, talk about drawing impossible objects, anamorphic illusions, and then we'll make a drawing together that has an almost magical floating object. It's all waiting for you in today's art room. So stick around for optical illusions. Okay, welcome back to the art room. I've been waiting so long to show you this project. I just love this concept, this whole idea of optical illusions. And just like I always do when I get ready to share them with you here in the art room, I end up kind of going down a rabbit hole of all the different ways to use optical illusions, all the different types of optical illusions, and we're going to have some fun with them and drawing one today. So let's start off with what we call impossible objects. So an impossible object, I couldn't resist drawing that one for you. I saw this impossible object when I was a kid, back in 5th grade, back in Mr. Rowan's class. I was so taken by it. First I didn't really understand what it was trying to say. I thought, hey, maybe it's probably a real object, but the longer I looked at it, I started to realize, wow, that's really neat. This one goes by a lot of different kinds of names. Just a great impossible object. Here's another neat one, a triangle. This one also goes by different names, and I've seen people try to build this out of Legos. Actually, there's kind of a trick way to make them out of Legos, even though you really can't build this object in the real world at all. Look that up on YouTube sometime. And then here's another impossible object that I kind of like, that's kind of fascinating. So impossible objects, one kind of an optical illusion that we have out there. There's another kind of optical illusion called anamorphic illusions. Anamorphic illusions are amazing. And the best way to explain one is to show you a couple of examples, and then I'll show you the one I made. If you've ever looked at a chalk drawing outside, one of those amazing chalk drawings that looks so real that you could almost fall into a hole or interact with a set of steps or any other number of clever illusions, they're all based on the same formula of stretching an image so that it only works in one viewpoint. That's why it's called anamorphic. It changes according to how you look at it, and there's really only one way to look at an anamorphic illusion, and that's right where you're standing in the correct spot, the way the artist intended it to. So they start off with a drawing that's distorted. This one's been distorted using kind of a mathematical formula. The amazing thing about an anamorphic drawing is that it kind of almost as if by magic transforms into this amazing illusion that it's a three-dimensional thing. And to do that, I've got to switch cameras here, and we're going to go down and see if we can. Here we are on the table, and watch what happens when I rotate this around. My anamorphic Rubik's Cube looks amazingly real sitting on the tabletop, even next to the real Rubik's Cube back there. It's really a startling kind of thing to do with the anamorphic illusion of 3D. Just amazing. I did another one with Artman. I'm not sure if Artman's quite as convincing or not. Let's try Artman. He kind of looks like he's standing there in just the right spot, and I distorted him too. So these anamorphic illusions are just incredible. I would suggest, if you want to pursue that further and do some of the drawings of maybe some things that you'd like to do, there's some really great mathematical grids that you can follow along, and before long you'll be doing some of these neat things too. The reason I like our drawing today is that it's a little bit anamorphic, but really not, but it's still an amazing illusion. Isn't that terrific? It's an amazing illusion. Let me put my hand underneath the ball there. Yeah, it's floating. It's an amazing illusion that you can create, and what's really terrific about it is it's not strictly formulaic. It's for us artists. There's a lot of other material in here that we can use in drawing and shading and making other things look real outside of drawing optical illusions. I just love this floating ball. So here's our supply list. We're going to need a 9 by 12 sheet of white paper, our chalk pastel set, a pencil, an eraser, a black marker, a ruler, and a pair of scissors. So here we go. First thing we're going to do is fish out a coffee cup or a drinking cup or any other kind of cup that you have that's similar to the one I've got. Doesn't have to be any certain size, just kind of nice and round. And I'm going to put it right on the edge of the center of my 9.5 or 8.5 rather by 11 sheet, and I'm going to put it right up to the tip top there. Okay, I'm going to take my black marker and I'm going to outline that shape. Okay. Alright. And let's see how we did. Little blooper there, but it won't matter. I'll show you why in a second there. Okay, great circle. Now, let's take a few colors out of our chalk box that I had you get a minute ago on our supply list. It doesn't have to be this type of pastel, but this is what we've been using right along in the art room. Brain Gallery. That's what we've got. And once again, I'm going into my broken up lots and lots of bits container here full, and I'm going to fish out some colors that I think I want to use with my sphere here. So I'm going to take a nice red, and I'm also going to take a brown as a shading color. Brown makes a great shading color for red in this instance. And then I'm going to see if I can get some black. If you don't have any black, black charcoal would be okay. And then if you really don't have anything like that, then you might have to use a little bit of pencil lead for the shading part. I'll show you how that goes in a second. So let's do it. Let's put some chalk dust in our circle. You notice I'm kind of backing off from the edge, and right away we're going to set the tone that the light source is coming from above. And okay, I'm going to get that nice and red. Didn't have to be red though. It could have been, oh gosh, blue. I love blue. I'm going to polish this around here with my fingertip. And wow, I love that chalk look. Okay, now I'm going to leave a bit of a shiny spot here, and if you haven't left a shiny spot, don't worry, we can erase a shiny spot in there. Alright, oh great, look at that, that looks great. So now with our shading color, our brown, I'm going to come across here and add some brown tones here once again, remembering that our light source is from above, so most of the shadow is going to take place across the bottom. And so here we go again, rubbing that brown in. It's starting to look a bit rounder. What really sells this illusion is the realism of this sphere that we're making, this ball. Okay, I'm going to come up a little bit more with my brown here, just a little more brown in there. Okay, you following along okay? I knew you would. Okay, yes. So, now time for some black, and I'm going to come across the bottom with my black. Go easy on that. Black is powerful stuff. Wow. Sure is. Yeah, see how? Oh, wow. That's really getting beautiful. And trying to take away any kind of lines or marks that it's, been drawn. Try to make it kind of a smooth shape. Okay, great. All right. You happy with yours? There's my shiny spot. So now I'm going to start to clean up the edges a bit with my kneaded eraser. And I got a kneaded eraser for Christmas. Aren't I lucky? I use it all the time. Okay, cleaning that up. There's really no substitute for one. You can get into tiny little places. And I'm going to try to clean up that edge a little bit. Okay, good, good. Now, some details in my sphere. Some kind of reflectivity going on here. And if you want your sphere to look even more realistic, imagine that maybe some bright things in the room are picking up some reflections and shooting them into our little ball here. So I'm going to just kind of take a little piece out there, and maybe I come across the bottom like this, and try to create. I don't think my kneaded eraser is powerful enough for that, so let me go over to my white eraser. Yeah, that's better. Let's make kind of a mark in there, like it's a reflective edge. Oh yeah. And then I think over here I'm going to do a kind of another little reflection there. Something's reflecting onto our ball, and then maybe pull another little couple of places out. This is where art really takes over for you. Your sense of being able to draw three-dimensional things, and the longer you're an artist, like we are, the more you begin to understand how things work and how you can really impart some realism into things by thinking it through. This whole idea of things reflecting. Okay, I am satisfied with my sphere now. So, time to get my ruler, and I'm going to set up some lines in our picture. Human beings are funny. They're raised to get cues about shape and shadow and depth and far away. When you're walking down the street and you see houses and things far away, you know they're far away because they're smaller. You know that things that have lines in them, lines always get closer together when you get farther away, and all these cues we can use to impart this realism in our drawing. So what I'm going to do first is decide where I'm going to end my paper, and I'm going to come up right about here. Doesn't have to be right. It could be here, it could be anywhere. Don't really worry about that too much, but I'm going to put a ruler line, a horizontal line. I'm not going to draw through my ball, but I'm going to be cutting there later. So that's going to be the edge of my paper. Now, I'm going to set up some lines that are parallel, and they're going to start off close together at the back of the page, which for us represents farther away. Now I'm going to drop down a little more. You notice I'm giving a little more width to that next line, trying to stay horizontal. Ain't nobody's perfect. And now I'm going to open that up just a little bit more. Okay. Don't draw through the circle. Okay, let's open that up just a bit more. Am I straight there? Yeah, pretty good. Alright, now I've left the circle, so I'm kind of out in the open here now. And I'm going to open up that distance a little more. And you get the idea. Now, by the time I'm down here, I'm twice as big as I was when I started out. And I'm just going to continue to open up that measurement, make those parallel lines wider and wider. And what that's going to do for us is promote that idea that we are looking at a real spatial thing going on from close to farther away. And let's see, here's a big one down here too. Okay, that's the biggest one we got. So that might end up being the last. No, that's good. I'm a little bit crooked there, but don't worry about it. Okay, next I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper, and this scrap paper is how we're going to do our shadow that really sells our illusion of a 3D object here. So what I'm doing is laying down some black chalk dust, and I'm going to get a little bit on my finger. See that? And it's the best way to apply your shadow, because your shadow is so important that it looks smooth and almost not man-made. So right down here below my circle here, I'm going to begin to rub an ellipse shape here. And I don't think that's quite dark enough, so I'm going to add a little more. Okay, like that. A little bit more maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I like it. Okay. It's getting so good. I love art. Oh boy. What a lucky guy I am to be able to do these things. So there we go. I think I'm gonna make the shadow a little broader, I think. Yeah, a little broader, a little fatter ellipse, I think. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, now it's time to get our scissors, and we're going to do a couple of things here that really sell our illusion. I'm going to cut along that original line that I made, and when I get to my circle, of course, my sphere, I'm going to carefully cut around that. Be real careful when you do this part. It's got to look round. Yes, okay. And then let's finish that off here. Go around the edge. Take your time. Alright. And then let's finish this line up here. Okay, one more thing that we're going to do now. This part really helps a lot, and we're kind of going to be increasing the illusion by making our paper appear that it gets smaller in the distance. And what I'm going to do is take my ruler and line it up on this bottom corner and think of an angle here. I'm going to angle it back a bit, like that. Okay. And on this side, I'm going to kind of copy as best I can the same amount of cutaway. Okay, like that. And back to my scissors again. Let's cut that off. All right. Okay. And one other last thing here before we are done here. Let's go back to our piece of scrap paper. And I want the slightest bit of illusion that there's a shadow encroaching on this piece of paper from far away. So don't overdo it. Just getting a little bit on my finger again. And I'm going to come to the top here and see if I can add a little bit of shading across the top. And then, of course, blend that in to the rest of it. Alright, I'm going to come around here and clean up my circle a bit, my sphere. Okay. And I think I'll go around my shadow here a bit and try to make it a little more defined with my kneaded eraser here, just like it's, so it has, you know, really a harder edge to it, not so much of a blended edge, like that. Alright, you know what, a little more dark in the middle. That's a little more dark. I'm always fussing around here, aren't I? Okay, hey, that's the way it goes. You gotta keep your options open with all these pictures. Everything you do, you may not like it right away. That's the secret that we try to go by. Just keep at it. Don't give up. Never give up. Alright, so let's do a little final cleanup and then we'll take a look. Okay. Alright, well, what do you think? Oh my goodness, it's a floating ball. It's let's go back to my beginning one. Same thing, same concept. We did it, and I hope you enjoyed that. That's going to finish up our Optical Illusions episode for today. I think I had more fun with that one than I have almost any other episode that we've made. Thanks for watching Mr. Shay's Art Room. And before I let you go, remember, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you've really got something to be proud of. You're an artist. See you next time in the Art Room.